Alright, so I'm a huge Batman fan. Actually, I think everyone probably is a big Batman fan, let's be for real. But has everyone played every Batman game ever made? Probably not. There's a lot of them. But in today's video, I will be playing over 30 years of Batman games, starting all the way back in 1986. So let's go. Batman 1986, an absolute classic for anybody who was alive with the dinosaurs. Holy shit, this game is old. Old but gold, baby. This game was actually pretty fun for about 5 minutes, and then I got really bored. I don't know if this is just TikTok brain rot, but this type of gameplay probably was really good in 1986, but it's nearly 2025 now, you know? So I'll give this game a good 5 out of 10. Not bad for the first ever Batman game, though. Batman the movie, released in 1989. Again, really old. This game was released for the Batman 1989 movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. You know, the same Batman they brought back in The Flash, just for him to commit suicide in the dumbest way possible, just for the possibility of the 5 people who actually saw the movie in cinemas to get a little hit of nostalgia. But this game was kind of fun. Now, I've done some research, but games released around the 80s are kind of confusing because they've released 20 different games with the exact same title on 10 different consoles and arcade machines. But the one I played was a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and I actually enjoyed it. A big jump from the last Batman game. The music was really nice. Obviously, there's not much going on with this game, but a big improvement of the last. I'll give this game a 7 out of 10. Batman Return of the Joker, released in 1991 on the NES, Game Boy, and Sega Genesis. Yet again, they released the same game a bunch of times, which was very confusing while making this video. But I played the NES version. The game is a platformer that has some run and gun elements, which is kind of weird, because Batman don't really go around shooting people with a Glock. The Game Boy version was a bit different. It removed the whole gun stuff and just was a pure platformer. And the Sega Genesis version was actually essentially a remake. Yeah, you heard that right. I don't want to see any shivers when I say the word remake. Sony. Horizon Zero Dawn, but this might have been a worse remake than that because this game released 1 year after the NES version. Like, surely the technology didn't get that much better in a calendar year. 6 out of 10. I think that's fair for this game. Batman Returns. I swear they love using the word returns when it comes to Batman. First, the Joker returned, and now Batman. I don't really know where he went, but he's returned now, I guess. Released in 1992 for the second Tim Burton Batman movie. You know the one with Danny DeVito as the Penguin. I played the Sega Genesis version of this game, and it's just a classic side-scroller beat-em-up. Kind of give me some of the same vibes as like the 90s TMNT games. I like the first level a lot though, as it played for the first couple minutes of the actual movie. Like when the clown people attacked the parade. I thought it was kind of cool to see it in the game. The game has the classic early 90s look and feel, with not much in the way of gameplay. You can just move and punch and boom, there's a game. But I enjoyed this one. Let's give it a 7 out of 10. Now this next one is a big one for me, as it's what I would say is my first exposure to Batman. Not the game itself, but what the game is basing itself off. We got drum roll, please. Batman, the animated series, baby. I didn't like it. Listen. It's fine. It's a 90s Game Boy game, but if they were making a movie for every bad Batman film released around the time, Batman Forever had a home console game. In that film, he had nipples, and that's more deserving of a home console game than the animated series. He had nipples. Why does he have nipples? They could have at least made a SNES version of the animated series. Like, I'd like to say, apart from the Nolan trilogy, the animated series is one of the best Batman media we have ever got. So the fact they just threw this game on a Game Boy kind of hurts me. And I know around this time, Batman was very much a kid's thing. And what did kids have? Little Game Boys. Go on, go play with your little Game Boy. But come on, man. 2 out of 10. I can't believe it. Next up, we got Mr. Nipples himself. It actually really stresses me out every time I see this Batman suit. Like, seriously, why does he have nipples? But anyway, Batman Forever released in 1995. And guess what, everyone? It's another side-scrolling beat-em-up. Woo! Let's go, boys. But this time with some of the weirdest graphics and art choices I've ever seen in a game. Like, it's halfway real and halfway fake. The game looks like they took 20 pictures a second of a man doing a certain move and then stitched them together each frame. It just looks so weird. Just look at the way Batman punches. Only Nipple Man would ever punch like that. I didn't play too much of this game, but just for the nipple suit, this game gets a 1 out of 10, man. Batman and Robin 1998, getting closer to the big 2000. And that means 3D graphics, which can only mean better games, right? Yeah, wrong. This game is actually terrible. Possibly the worst controls of any game I've ever played in my entire life. I'm not even gonna waste your time on this piece of 1 out of 10. Next up, we have 3 games released in 1 year. They were really trying to squeeze every penny out of Batman around this time. We got Batman Chaos in Gotham, Batman Gotham City Racer, and Batman Vengeance. All very different games, which is good. Finally, some switch up from the side-scrolling beat-em-ups. Batman Chaos in Gotham is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, everybody. Let's go. Oh, wait. Did I not just say they switched it up? Sake, but it's for the Game Boy, so we'll let it slide. Actually, a lot of fun. The main premise of the game is that some criminals have escaped Arkham, and you just have to catch them. Classic Batman stuff, 5 out of 10. Batman Gotham City Racer, though, a racing game. What? Now listen, this game is no Mario Kart, but I actually really enjoyed it. And I was actually thinking, an up-to-date Batman Gotham City Racers would be very, very cool. Like, the idea of racing around Gotham in the Batmobile is kind of sick. Not just the Batmobile, though. There's like a lot of other vehicles in the game. You can use the Batpod, even the Joker's car. Honestly, just a great time. It even looked pretty decent as well. And some of the race levels were really sick. So I'll give this game a 7 out of 10. Batman Vengeance. Oh shit, he said the thing.
I'm Vengeance.
This game is based on the Batman Adventure series, and this time it was released on the beefy and powerful PlayStation 2. And it shows. This game looked a lot better than every game I played so far, but still the gameplay lacked a lot. The story is kind of cool. You investigate like the death of the Joker, which is always just a fun premise for a Batman game. I'll give this game a 6 out of 10. Batman Dark Tomorrow, released in 2003. This game, it's a piece of shit. It was so bad, I even did some research into the development to unravel why it's so bad. It was pitched as like the perfect open world Batman game where you could traverse the city, multiple vehicles, grappling building to building, and it just didn't, it just was not that. This game wasn't based on any movies or animated shows. It was just like straight comic, which sounds great, right? Yeah, wrong. It felt like the developers were pitching Arkham City a generation before Arkham was even a thing. NPCs might be the worst of any game I've ever played. They hit you, you get knocked down, and then they just stand there awkwardly swaying back and forth. And don't even get me started on the traversal. Like, I get it, the idea was cool. Batman jumping rooftop to rooftop, grappling to higher buildings. All sounds amazing, but this game was released in 2003. How was that ever gonna be a good idea with the technology at the time? Might actually be the worst traversal system in any video game ever. But we got boss fights, right? We got boss fights. The Poison Ivy one was sick, right? I bet Poison Ivy, just like the Arkham games. Oh, I'm so excited. You fight a tree. You just fight a tree. Yeah, Batman fights a tree. Oh, 0 out of 10. Actually hurts to see my guy Bruce done like this. Also, in 2004, they released a Batman, but that was just a plug-and-play TV game. So yeah, I thought I'd just say that before someone comments saying, "Hey, actually, you forgot Batman 2004 by Hot Gen on the 2004 Sony flat screen TV." Also, carrying on from this, we had 2 learning games released in 2003, so let's just rank them all maybe as 2 out of 10 together. I don't know. Batman Begins, baby. The first Nolan Batman movie got its own game. Probably the worst out of the trilogy, but anyway. Released in 2005 on a bunch of consoles, and this one, I actually remember playing it as a kid. I had it on my Game Boy, and at the time, it was super sick. I was probably like 5 years old though, so that probably plays into it. But for this video, I played the PS2 version of the game, and straight away, you're thrown into the mountains with Liam Neeson. He was in the movie, obviously, but every time I see this man, I'm just reminded of Taken. Also, the models are really good for a 2005 game. And Liam Neeson and Christian Bale also voiced their characters, which is actually really cool.
This way, Wayne. There is no space in the league for hesitation.
Graphically, for the time, the game holds up really well, with even some god rays in 2005. Okay. There's also a cool fear system in the game, where if you beat the enemies enough, a small cutscene plays, and you're turned into a more demonic Batman, which was really cool. The gameplay kind of got repetitive, which is expected of a 2005 game, but actually, I enjoyed this game, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Now, for this next bunch of games, we have 5 in 1, baby. We have the Lego Batman games. Even though I was around the age of someone who would have played these games as a kid, I really didn't. My Lego game growing up was Star Wars, but I do kind of wish I played these as a kid. Like, they're just cute action adventures with small puzzles, beating up Batman's rogue gallery as Lego Batman. Like, 10-year-old me would have played this non-stop. Shit. Even 24-year-old me was having a great time playing through all these games. Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham was by far my favorite, and that probably is because it's the newest with the better graphics and gameplay, but the others were completely fine and really fun. I'm also going to give all these games an 8 out of 10. It was just a great time. Okay, now it's time for the moment we have all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. Arkham Batman. We have just hit peak. Starting with Arkham Asylum, the first Arkham game, and the first one I played when it released in 2009 on the Xbox 360. And this era is what a lot of people call peak Batman gaming. And while I'm here, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was not the same Batman in my brain. I've separated them. Arkham Batman is still alive, and I don't care. Okay, rant over. Arkham Asylum is actually such a good game. Voice acting from Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, by the way, are absolutely unbelievable. Probably my favorite adaptations of Batman. Arkham Asylum introduces a rogues gallery that just blows every other superhero game away. They also introduce free flow combat, which, let's be real, everyone copied after. Just the feeling of fighting a group of 20 men, flying back and forth, punching, and then perfectly timing a counterattack just feels like so good. I'd also like to say this was the first Batman game to absolutely nail boss fights. The ending Joker boss fight was such a good climax to the story, but I will say the Killer Croc boss fight was kind of mid. But we do get a slightly better Killer Croc fight later on in the series. The game takes place in Arkham Asylum, where other Batman games have set their games in before, but something about the way Rocksteady's art style just fits and creates one of the coolest locations in like all of gaming. Now, Batman is known for stealth, and no game before has done it correctly, but Arkham Asylum perfected it. Even though it does kind of get repetitive, but just the way you stalk your enemies all the way from above, just waiting for the right moment to attack. Like, I am Batman at that point. Now, I know I'm glazing this game a lot, but there is one thing that I think hinders the whole Arkham series, and I don't know if I'm alone in this. The X-ray vision. Now, I know why it's there and why it's a great idea, but I felt as if 80% of the stealth missions were just played in that ugly blue and orange overlay, and it does take away from how good the game looks, but nonetheless, 9 out of 10, amazing game. Arkham City, released 2 years after the last, presents the same core experience as Asylum, but it's just such at a bigger scale. Set in Arkham City, obviously. This one is open world, and the world is just absolutely beautiful. Once again, Rocksteady's art design is actually insane. It just fits the Batman universe so well. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill return, and yet again, they just smash the voice acting for the Batman and the Joker. Boss fights obviously make a return, and I'd say this time, they're even better. I really enjoyed the Mr. Freeze and Clayface boss fights. I just love the fantastical feel of these games. It really is just what everyone would want from a Batman movie, just set in a game. With beautiful graphics, gameplay that's near perfection, free flow combat obviously makes a return, and it's just even better. They've added dual takedowns, which just feels so good, and I'd still say the X-ray vision is still a hindrance, but that's the last time I'll say that for all these games. But Arkham City, in my opinion, is probably the best Batman game ever made. So for that reason, this game deserves a 10 out of 10. Now, this next one is one I played a lot as a kid, so I had such high expectations going in, and it smashed those expectations. We have Arkham Origins, the Arkham game that wasn't made by Rocksteady. A lot of people see this game as like the ugly duckling of the family, but not me. I see this game for the absolute beauty that it is. This game shows us Batman on his second year, when he is like a lot more raw. The main villain being Black Mask, which I really enjoyed. A small switch from the big characters from earlier titles, and the story, just wow. Set on Christmas Eve, Black Mask has put a hit out on Batman, and now the world's greatest assassins are after him. Are you kidding me? Does that not just sound like actually peak? Now, this time there's no Kevin Conroy voice in the Bat, but we get Roger Craig Smith and Troy Baker. Like, I know you can't really beat Kevin Conroy, but Troy Baker, the voice of Joel, now that's not a bad replacement, especially for a younger Batman. I just loved how intense and angry Batman was in this game. Really felt as if he just wanted to hurt everyone. And a lot of people say that the free throw combat in this game is not as good as the other Arkham games, but I found it completely fine, and I really enjoyed it. Also, don't even get me started on the Deathstroke boss fight. Holy shit. This nearly made me stand up and start shadowboxing in the corner of my room. The cinematics, are you kidding me? The best boss fight in any Arkham game ever is actually just insane. For me, this game is not as good as Arkham City, but 100% deserves a spot up there with Arkham Asylum, so this game gets a 9 out of 10. There's also a PSP game released for Arkham Origins, which was slightly different, and because I don't want to start an uproar, I'll give that game a 6 out of 10. Batman Arkham Knight, the last Rocksteady Arkham game, peak has actually just returned. Released in 2015, 10 years ago. Just please, Rockstar, just give us one more Batman game and I'll stop. They improved like every gameplay element from Arkham City and just cranked that shit all the way up to 100. Gameplay is the smoothest of any Batman game ever. Just grappling rooftop to rooftop, double hit and jump just as you hit the roof to get flung off. It's just absolute perfection. And the suits, oh my god. They got the Nolan suits. They got the Batman Beyond suit. Shit, they even added the Patterson suit. Like, just look at it. Holy shit. But now I need to speak about the elephant in the room, the Batmobile. This is where a lot of people hit points off the game. A lot of people say there's way too many Batmobile missions and fights, and I would agree. Sure, the first few were a lot of fun, especially the first Batmobile sequence. That had my jaw locked to the floor. But after beating your 10th tank in the last 20 minutes, it does get like really repetitive. But that's the only negative I can really even think about in this game. I loved this game in 2015 and I loved this game in nearly 2025. So please, Rocksteady, just one more. Boss fights obviously return, but with the only main fight being the Arkham Knight and obviously Scarecrow Joker. And I know we get a bunch more boss fights in DLCs like Black Mask and Killer Croc, but I'm playing every Batman game here, okay? Not every Batman game and DLC. But even then, I felt as if the Arkham Knight's threat felt so high throughout the whole game that bosses weren't needed. That guy had me stressed out. I'd rate this game 10 out of 10 with Arkham City. It's just an actual masterpiece. And now, the last two Batman games released. Gameplay has to be peak, right? Following up from the perfect Arkham trilogy. Let me get a little drum roll. Batman Telltale. Okay. Yeah, it's not really Arkham. These are like every Telltale game, but with Batman. Telltale games really ain't my thing, but these were fine. If you enjoy Telltale games, you'll probably love this, but it's just not for me. 5 out of 10. And now that's every Batman game. And now before someone comments, I know there's a bunch of games where Batman appears, like Injustice, Gotham Knights, shit, even Suicide Squad. But I only did games in which Batman was the main point of the game. Otherwise, I'd have to play multiverses and even Scribblenauts. But that's it. Every Batman game. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see ya.